Hi, everyone.
Happy Wednesday. We're going to wait just a few minutes for some of you to join us here.
If you guys hop on, let us know where you're watching from. Say hi.
Hey, Lee. Chelsea from Oregon.
Lee's from Washington.
Rob.
Oh, Red.
Not too far away.
This is too far back.
Green.
I know. They don't help. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a couple special guests with us today. Colby and Charlie are with us, and they are going to talk about ways to keep your cattle thriving this season and introduce a new product that we have here at Valley Vet, CattlActiv.
Be sure that you put any questions that you have in the comments. They are here to answer all of those for you today. And at the end of the segment, we are going to be giving away a bottle of the CattlActiv. So make sure you get those questions in there. And with that, Colby and Charlie, we are going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. I'm Charlie Ursalka with ProEarth Animal Health. Just going to talk to you today about what CattlActiv is and what it can do for you in the branding setting. First off, let's just start by talking, what happens during branding. The branding process is one of the most stressful events for both the cow and the calf. Stressors include separation, sorting, working the calf, which could be dehorning, castration, fire branding, along with vaccinations. This stress causes a rise in cortisol levels in the calf, resulting in loss of appetite, causing shrink, and research has proven that the stress in the calf can render vaccinations ineffective. Stressed calves will also produce an excessive amount of acid in the rumen. This acid causes the cell wall of the stomach to break down, which creates an environment for bad bacteria to thrive. Calves can easily lose up to 30 pounds after branding. Those 30 pounds at $1.50 per pound can be worth $42 to $45 per calf at marketing time. So if you have 100 head of calves, that can be a big number. Respiratory and clostridial infections post-branding due to stress have also been noted by ranchers. By restoring appetite and lowering cortisol levels, you can minimize shrink and prevent death. Grab my CattlActiv here. So how can CattlActiv help you avoid these issues? CattlActiv is an all-natural prebiotic designed for use in cattle that is going to support the digestive system during those times of stress, like branding or weather-related anything. With 80% of the immune system coming from the rumen, CattlActiv will also stimulate feed and water consumption, raise the pH in the stomach, which will reduce excessive acid, and prevent shedding. So let's break down the recommended dosing and use of this product at branding. We recommend using 5 cc's per calf, or if it's a calf over 300 pounds or a bull calf, we recommend 10 cc's due to the extra stress that calf is going to have. Sick calves, we recommend giving them a little extra. So you could jump it up to 15 or 20 cc's, just depending on what's going on with that calf. So the cost breakdown on a half-gallon or gallon jug of CattlActiv, if you're using 5 cc's, so 5 cc's right here, small little dose, that's going to be 93 cents per head.
And that's given orally. It's a oral drench down the mouth.
Yes, an oral drench down the mouth.
And we do have available larger sizes, and we do also have available drench guns. So it makes it easy. You can hang it right at your shoe, right wherever you're branding. If it's a calf table you're using, or you're using traditional rope and drag to the fire, you can have a jug and a drench gun, and it makes it really easy to administer.
I highly recommend the drench gun. Colby brought up a really good point there. It just makes it so much easier to administer the product. To me, I seen less waste when I was doing it myself, when I using the drench gun versus a little syringe. Mainly because you could get that, hook in there a little further, less waste. Know that you're getting all $1.86 or 93 cents down that calf's throat.
And at 93 cents, and by the way, I'm Colby, and I'm with ProEarth. I'm a health as well. And that 93 cents, what's 93 cents going to do for you, a producer? For one, what it's going to do is it's going to neutralize, it's going to take that acid and it's going to turn it into something that calf can use. And when you sort it off its mom, and you sort them and you use a table or you rope and drag, it's a very stressful thing. So the 93 cents is going to ensure, first and foremost, it's going to put that calf back on the cow. And we've all seen that in a branding situation. We gather in the morning, we sort the calves off the cows. The cows go over there and they get worked. The calves go over there and they get roped and drugged to the pen. They get branded, they get vaccinated, they get cut. And at the end of the day, we try to mother the cows on the calves, and we think everything's fine and dandy. And we leave and we come back, and what do we have? And everybody on this chat right now, you guys know what I'm talking about. When we come back, what do we have? We have a bunch of calves that morning that are over in the corner, laid down. They're fasting now, so we know that the acid's building in them, and they're in jeopardy. They haven't ate. They haven't done. They've just laid there and built acid. Cortisol is rising. Stress is rising. The next thing you know, scours, pneumonia, all these bad things show up because that calf didn't get to go suck after the stressful event. And that's an important thing. And if that's all CattlActiv ever did was put that calf back on the cow, it'd be worth the 93 cents every single time. But it does much, much more than that. First of all, it's going to help you get an immune reaction to your vaccine. So that $12 to $14 that you're about to put into that calf, when you give CattlActiv with that, you're able to get an immune response. And you're able to get an immune response because of two things. We've lowered the acid in the rumen, and the CattlActiv has increased the pH. And when you increase pH, it increases absorption. That means that they can absorb what you're taking on, whether it be vaccines, feedstuffs, antibiotics, colostrum, everything. It helps them take that on and be much more efficient with it rather than putting it into an acidic environment, burning it up. And that's a big deal. I mean, that's why they revac, right, Charlie? I mean, we revac because we really don't know which ones our vaccines worked on and which ones it didn't. So that's why we revac. Well, if you use CattlActiv, you know that you are giving yourself the best opportunity possible to relieve the stress, which we all deal with on cattle. It's our number one killer in cattle is stress, and that's period. And so that it's going to take that stress down. It's going to help them eat and drink. It's going to help that pill eye stand back up and start absorbing. And we'll talk a little more about that later, but that's a pretty powerful 93 cents. So, Charlie, talk a little bit about immunity and how CattlActiv is going to play into the overall health of that calf and the cow.
Well, I mean, considering that 80% of the cattle or cow or calf's health is through the rumen, I mean, to have that rumen straightened out and working properly is going to help just ensure that calf or cow are going to stay healthy.
And that's where CattlActiv comes in. We're building immunity through digestive integrity. And so that's real important. If you don't have a healthy digestive system, you don't have a healthy immune system. And if you don't have a healthy immune system, you're going to do lots of doctoring. And CattlActiv is going to help you with that. I'm not saying that you're going to have to stop doctoring, because you're always going to have something to go take care of. There's always going to be an issue. But if you can pull that out of your toolbox, and you know that when you give it, you're going to get in response to that product, they're going to eat, they're going to drink. My antibiotics, if I use them, they're going to work. So overall, it's a product that we can use each and every day with confidence. And it is 100% all natural. There's no drugs, there's no medicine. We're IMI Global All Natural certified. So we can use it in our all natural programs and not have to sort those calves out to go the other way. And they can stay in the program. We do have that certificate. If anybody's interested in that certificate, we could get that over to Valley Vet. They could put that up and show you our certificate that we are certified, IMI all natural global certified. So it's just another tool in your toolbox. And we have lots of different ways to get it to them. Of course, Valley Vet, they've got the liquid. We have other means as well that Valley Vet, I'm sure as time goes on here, we'll be dabbling in that as well. And we have a stress tub, we have a breeder tub, we have a pellet, and it all has to do with what we have in it. When you take CattlActiv away, our stuff is just like everybody else's. It's a mineral pack, it's got molasses or whatever in it, but you add CattlActiv, that's when you have added something to your product to where they can actually utilize everything and clean up shedding, help them calves thrive, and get them ready. And that's what CattlActiv Basic does, is get them calves ready for weaning. And hopefully we'll be able to come back on in the fall and we'll talk about weaning and why CattlActiv is important in that. But we're going to focus mostly on the branding, because that is the number one stressor. Like Charlie said, that's the biggest stressor that we have on cattle is branding. That's the first time in their life they've been sorted off a mom. It's the first time in their life that they've been branded or castrated or vaccinated or anything. So, and when you're given vaccines, it can actually bring on some fever. So CattlActiv is even going to help try to counteract that, because we bring core temperature down inside the rumen. So CattlActiv is an all-around product that you can use from day one, from start to finish. And what we like to say at Pro Earth Animal Health is be proactive with CattlActiv, because that's a very powerful statement. Being proactive inside of our cattle herd, and it is a very important thing. Practicing good husbandry and doing the best, and I know everybody does, and everybody cares for their animals, and we want to raise a big, healthy calf, and we want to do it as inexpensive as we can. CattlActiv is that answer. 93 cents for a 5 mil dose at birth is pretty cheap. As we go in that branding dose, you can pick that up to 10 mils. We like to go to 10 mils, and at the half a gallon level, that's $1.86 a dose. And even at $1.86, there's not many products out there today that can say that we can do a number of things, including keep your calves eating and drinking, raise a bigger, healthier calf because of digestive integrity, and death loss is going to go down, morbidity is going to go down, your overall health of your herd's going to increase. Charlie, talk about the cows a little bit at branding.
So, another thing you can do too is if you are vaccinating, some people vaccinate their cows at branding, some people don't. If you're going to run them through the chute, we recommend giving 15 to 20 cc's per cow. What that's going to do is that's just going to help their stress and cortisol levels as well, and make sure that their rumen is functioned properly, and just kind of keep them on track, which can also be really important, because you aren't far off from putting bulls out for breeding season. So to have those cows healthy and ready to get bred is also very important.
Setting that cow up. And that's what that 15 mils does. It sets that cow up to go on. She's got a long summer ahead of her. She's got to go out there and she's got to forage, and she's got to live through Mother Nature and everything that she's got to give to us. So she's got to go do her job too, and she needs to be producing. And so by giving that to those cows, it's going to set that rumen up. It's going to set her up to go out there and start utilizing her feed, and it should take her on. Really, once we get done branding, the next big stressor on a cow would be when we go to wean. There is such a thing as weather stress. Weather stress is real. It's something that we deal with on an everyday basis. And I think we see it more in equine than we do in cattle, but it's still a real thing. And right now we've got these crazy weather swings where it's nice and warm during one day, and the next day it plummets and it's 50 degrees and there's a breeze and a little bit of rain. And believe it or not, I mean, it's a stressful situation, and CattlActiv just helps counteract that in all facets of it, of the stressful event. So, and I know I'm waiting for the questions to pop up, because someone's going to ask, well, how long does CattlActiv work? I mean, you're going to give it to her in the chute and then you're just going to kick her out. And how long do you expect that to work? Well, I expect that to work and set that cow up for the immediate future. And then if I want to keep CattlActiv in front of her all the time, when my grass starts to go bad in the fall, I'm going to call Valley Vet and I'm going to order some tubs. I'm going to get some tubs and I'm going to set my CattlActiv tubs out there. And then I know that cow is getting CattlActiv. She's licking the tub, because in that time of year, grass is dry and you can give them cows need that tub. So we've got ways to give it to them and keep it on them. But when you are branding, and if you're going to worm them, and a lot of guys do, and you squeeze them, that 15 mils is going to take you a long way. And it's also going to help her produce a better milk and more milk for that calf. And that might be a different discussion for a different day, but we did a lot of dairy studies as well. And we found where CattlActiv is increasing the butter fat and helping with a lot of different issues that the dairyman is dealing with. And so 15 mils is pretty important, Charlie.
Yes, sir. I've had a lot of producers talk to me, and I'm sure you've heard the same, but I mean, just talking about how, they see less sick calves, more consistent group of calves come weaning time. And then most of them that have good records on their weaning weights have seen at least a 5% increase on weaning weights as well, or more.
Yes. I see a question here. It says, by Lee, do you give it after or before when doing vaccines? So I have some ranchers that they will give pre-branding. They give some pre-branding vaccines before they brand. I've got them, they're giving it then. I have ranchers that are giving the product as the calf comes to the fire or into the chute. So you can give it side by side. It's not going to conflict. They're not going to conflict at all. And the next question that's going to come up is going to be, how fast does it work? Well, if you had some CattlActiv, and maybe we could talk the ladies into doing it. You can actually put some on your finger and put it in your mouth, which is not going to hurt you. Put it in your mouth, and your mouth is going to change fast. And what it's changing is changing the fact that it's neutralizing every bit of acid in your mouth, and it's doing on contact. So you could only imagine when you give a dose, how fast, and that reaction, it's immediate. It's right now. And we've done pH tests where you take your pH, take the pH of the animal, get a reading, give the CattlActiv, take the pH again immediately, and that pH is already climbing and rolling to optimum pH. So it happens fast. We see it more so, you can visually see it in horses more so than cattle. Horses will go to licking their lips and eyes will get real soft and they'll look at you like, what in the heck did you just do to me? Stress is a real thing. And in the cattle industry, the stress has been the number one thing the industry's been trying to figure out since the beginning of time, how to counteract the effects of stress. How do we do it? They don't know how to do it. No one does. They've tried to change the way that we feed cattle. They try to change what we are feeding cattle. They've tried to change the way that we work cattle. From the old traditional, they try to do this really easy and easy, low stress handling. Well, CattlActiv is that answer. It's going to answer your questions. How do I get my calf eaten again after a stressful situation? I give him CattlActiv. How do I get the most bang for my buck out of my vaccines that I get from Valley Vet? I use CattlActiv. How do I ensure that I'm getting the most out of my cow each and every year? CattlActiv is that answer. So CattlActiv is the stress reliever, and it really is the answer to stress. And when you start using it, you'll realize that you're going to see it right away. And my old saying is use it like you stole it. And when you do use it like you stole it, you're going to see, you are going to see something that is going to set you back. And you're going to say, oh my gosh, where has this product been for so long? Charlie has seen it on a personal level. I myself have seen it on a personal level. Charlie's got cattle of his own. He's a cattle rancher too. He fights the same exact things that we all fight. Weather, stress, the two big ones, right? He fights it just like that. And he started using CattlActiv. He's seen that there's a very big benefit to using CattlActiv. Charlie, why don't you testify to that, of what you have seen in your cattle herd and what it's done for you?
So last year actually was probably the biggest difference I seen overall on a really dry year in Wyoming. I think that's important to note too. I mean, dry years are always tough on cattle just because they don't have the nutrition that they normally would get. And I mean, even from my first calf heifers to my cows, I mean, it was the most consistent group of calves I've ever had. And on top of that, I did not have even one cutback on the truck. So, and then even to go further into that, you know, the guy that bought our calves, he figured out, you know, about CattlActiv, or that I worked for CattlActiv and Pro Earth Animal Health. And he said, oh yeah, he said, I've been using that in my feedlot. And he said, you know, it's awesome how even when a calf gets sick, they continue to go to the feed bunk. And he said, you have to really watch them at the feed bunk to pick out the sick ones, because the way it drives them to feed and water. And so he's like, you know, I don't ever see my calves lose weight even if they get sick. They continue to eat and drink. He said they may level off on their weight, but he said they're going to go right back to gaining as soon as they get them straightened out. Which I think that's huge. You know, if you can keep a calf cow eating and drinking during, you know, times of sickness, you know, you're already winning half the battle right there.
Well, that's exactly what happens, Charlie. Calf gets sick, cortisol starts to increase. The first thing they do is they lose their appetite and their thirst. They just quit drinking. They start to dry out, and that's why we lose a lot of calves to dehydration. It's not so much the what they have that's getting them. It's ultimately dehydration is what gets that calf. So CattlActiv's not drying that calf out to make him drink. It's not. We're basically taking a byproduct, which is acid, turning it into things that the calf can use, like an octadecanoic, and also driving that calf to want to go drink naturally. So really, when you're putting something like CattlActiv in an all-natural way, it keeps them on the feed. Charlie said it just right. You stand a chance to keep them alive. Last time I checked, they weren't buying dead calves. So for that $1.86 dose, it's pretty cheap insurance. It's something that I use each and every day, whether it's on equine or cattle, our equine product or cow product. I use it every single day, and that's my go-to. The overall health of my herd has increased. I don't have as much sickness as I did in previous years. And then when I do have some get sick, I get through it really fast because the animal's able to take on everything that I'm giving them and utilize it properly with that $1.86. So it's a pretty powerful product. You all say, where have y'all been this time? Well, we've been around about 15 years now, and we've come a long ways, and it's a great product. And I'm seeing a question come up here. Yes, so she's asking, this seems like it'd be very beneficial for jerseys coming off of milk. Yes, ma'am, very beneficial, very, very. It's going to put them on dry feed faster. It's going to make that transition for you quicker, from transitioning from milk to feed. Yes, most definitely. We'll give them an appetite, and they're going to really go to feed. They're going to clean their feed up. And if you're feeding them a high starch diet, which a lot of people do, it's going to help keep that fire out in that room and keep the bloat out of them, keep them gaining, and keep them moving. So yes, ma'am, 100%, most definitely.
And also on that, you know, if you do have one get sick, it's good when you're given the antibiotic to hit them with another dose of it. You aren't going to use too much of this product. I mean, it's an all natural product. So, I mean, you can give them another 10 cc's, 20 cc's, it could be a week later, you can still give them that dose again.
Yeah. If you put your hand, what we say, if you put your hands on them, give it to them. Okay.
Yes.
We got another interesting question here. This is really, I get this question a lot, and it's about roping calves, team roping practice. Yes, yes, and yes. You can run this product in the water. If you're trying to mass treat, you could put it in the water. If you're running on a float, put it in the water at 1 cc per gallon. That ensures a couple things. One, that every calf that goes and gets a drink of water from that tank is getting a clean drink of water. It's got a 99.8 effective rate against bacteria. It's an antimicrobial. That's what CattlActiv is. It fights bad bacteria. So you can put it in the water. You can put it in their mouth orally. But in them calves, on them team roping, on the calf roping calves and team roping cattle, 100%, put it in the water, call Valley Vet, order some tubs. You can put them 20% all natural tubs in there with them calves. They will thrive and they'll stay good. And your longevity on those calves should stretch it out quite a bit. Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. Thank you for that.
So earlier when I said that, branding's the most stressful time on a calf, well, I kind of take that back, because if a calf goes to be a, breakaway or tie down calf, that's extremely stressful. They're running constantly. They don't have their mother anymore, so they're on feed, trying to get on the feed. That's extremely stressful, and I have seen multiple customers that have benefited big time from using CattlActiv on those calves. Just keeping them from getting sick, keeping them running stronger, growing, gaining weight. It's made a huge difference in a lot of those, people's practice cattle.
Well, we have there's professional contractors, pro rodeo cattle contractors that are using on those calves, and they're not only using it in the water, but they're also using it in their grain, and they're putting in their feed. And so, yes, and the cattle and them kind of roping stressed calves, a CattlActiv would be my go-to every time.
One of the universities I've dealt with, they had tons of issues, with calves getting sick just because they were running, the calves so much, and they were using them 3-4 days a week, and just a lot of stress on those calves. And when they started using CattlActiv, they drenched them as soon as they'd get them in. Anytime they had the calf get sick, they'd drench them again. And then they also had them on the stress tubs, and their program has completely changed around where they hardly have sick calves, but they don't lose as many either.
That's a big deal. Well, thank you for those questions. We also have some university studies. We have them information. You can go to proearthanimalhealth.com to find it there. We can also get it over to the nice gals here at Valley Vet. They can put some stuff up on, and maybe we can meet again and we can talk a little bit more and keep having this conversation. I think it's a conversation that's worth having. And there's a lot of stuff that we could sit here and we could talk all day long about it. But we do have some university studies. We do have some feed yard studies and different things. So here's another question, and this is a really good question, and I was waiting for this one. How well does it combat coccidia? Is it a good alternative to Corid? CattlActiv is not going to take the place of Corid, but you use Corid and CattlActiv together. That is a combination of two products. That is a 1-2 punch, because Corid is a very good product and it is very good on coccidia. But you add CattlActiv to it and you prime the pump and you put it into that calf and you increase the pH in that calf and you get that acid down. They start changing that acid and you come with Corid behind it. It works very, very well. Now, if you catch that calf down the road and it's been 2 weeks or longer and it now has become neurological, there's nothing that can help that calf. And I hate to sound like that, and I hate to say that, but that calf's gone too long. You catch that calf within the first couple days of him being sick, absolutely, CattlActiv is definitely going to make a difference in how that calf recovers and how things go. And if he ends up either in your small pen or he stays with the herd, stays on track and keeps eating and drinking. But the combination of the two, CattlActiv and cord, are a very good combination, and do not be afraid to use them together. You can do side by side. It doesn't matter which one you start with first. You got the calf gathered up, hit him in the mouth with 10 mils, and then come with your cord behind it. And next day, you got to do it again. You put your hands on that calf again. Do it, use it like you stole it. That's a good question. Thank you.
So with coccidiosis, the university that I was talking about, the rodeo team, they actually had a lot of issues with coccidiosis. And while using, the CattlActiv along with the cord, they pretty much don't have any issues with it anymore.
And so that's what CattlActiv basically is, guys. It's basically a pump, so to speak, putting your things into a neutral environment, getting the most bang for your buck, keeping your calves eating and drinking in times of stress. And that's something that we all deal with it every day. Stress is our number one enemy. And how do we combat it? And we do everything we can to try to avoid stress. CattlActiv is that answer, and it really is. And it's available at Valley Vet, and we are so excited to be in partnership with them and be part of that great company. And I know all of you are trusting Valley Vet, and they have good products, and they've added another one, and they've added CattlActiv, and I was really excited when we finally got this done and we were able to be part of Valley Vet and just to be part of it. It's huge for our company. It's huge for you as a producer, because we're hopefully going to bring to new light a product that's going to help you every single day, and it's going to make you money every day. It's going to save you money. It's going to make you money, and it's going to do it by building digestive integrity in them calves, keep them eating and drinking, and all in the same breath. It's all natural, and what a better deal. And we all know what's going on with all natural right now. Go in the store and try to buy some steak. That all natural beef is worth a lot more money than that regular old son of a gun that we all were out there, blood, sweat, and tears. Same amount of work took to keep that calf alive, but he might have got Nuflor, or he might have got penicillin, or he might have got something. It takes him out of the program. CattlActiv will help keep those calves in the program. Is it going to keep every calf in the program? I'm not going to tell you that it is, but it's definitely going to help your averages. And it's going to help you stay in them programs, and it's going to help you thrive, and it's going to help your calves stay healthy, and it's going to help your herd overall. So thank you.
I just seen Chelsea's comment there, and when you get those calves off the truck, you give them cord, hit them with 10 cc's of CattlActiv at $1.86. You won't be disappointed.
You won't be. And I've raised some dairy calves too. I've got some breakaway roping kids and whatnot. So we always get little dab calves every year, and I get some dairy cross calves. And I'll tell you, when you do get them, they're straight off milk, basically, not even weaned. And what I found with the calves that I had, it put them on dry feed faster, and they got sick. And I had to give some cord to one, and I had to give some other antibiotics to a few of them because they got pretty puny. But the CattlActiv is what kept them alive, and it kept them eating, and it kept them drinking. So yes, ma'am. Those little baby calves, yes, ma'am. It's going to increase your numbers too. Your death loss is going to start to go down. Use it like you stole it.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions, please continue to put those in the comments, because this will be on our Facebook page. If you happen to miss it, you want to go back and watch it, please do so. And also on our YouTube channel, if you'd like to watch it that way, it will live there. So did you gentlemen have anything else to add before we wrap up the segment today?
The only thing I have to add is be proactive with CattlActiv.
I think that's a good way to end it right there. If you have more questions, we're more than happy to answer those for you. And go to Valley Vet, get your CattlActiv.
All right. Well, thank you, Colby, and thank you, Charlie, so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you answering all these questions, and we know a lot more about it now than we did before we started. So we really appreciate it.
All right.
We're
Well, we're going to go ahead.
What
What was that?
I didn't catch that.
we look forward to the next time we get it done.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. We're going to go ahead and draw the winner for today.
One lucky winner is going to win a bottle of CattlActiv to try out.
And the winner today is Chelsea Logan.
So, congratulations. Okay, we have just a few announcements before we leave you today. Don't forget about our Spraymaster Spectacular.
Master Spectacular is still going on. You have until June 24th to get entered in that, so don't miss out. That's a great prize.
Also, we have our Positively Awesome giveaway going on. That ends on May 27th. We are going to have 5 winners. $100 gift card goes to each one. So make sure that you get entered for that as well. And then join us live again next Wednesday. We will be back. And
Thanks
until then.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
You don't have to use it like you stole it this time. You can use it like you want it.
Very good.
We'll see you guys later.
Thank you.